Year 10, and here's a quick video just to help you with your week 4 assessment. Now, very similar to when you had the other creative writing task, this one comes with a picture. So it says write a narrative or a description suggested by the following picture. Now, one of the reasons why we make you do this is because actually this is part of the language. Okay, so the language paper 1. Question 5. Now, on the day of the exam for this one, you would have to write more than 200 words. So don't feel shy to write more for your teacher if you wanted to. But this is ultimately a 40-marker question. And this question is divided into 2 sections in the way that they mark it. 24 marks goes for the content, for your ideas, and 16 marks goes for your grammar and punctuation. Now, of course, with this picture, you can go anywhere. So in case you're struggling or you're running out of ideas or you don't know what to write about, I'm going to give you a bit of a plan and a few things that you might want to write about. Now, I usually always follow a very similar structure. Now, when I do this picture, whenever I got a task like this, I always think about, well, what is the main gist of my story going to be about? Now, I've got I might call my story something along the lines of the boy in the field. Okay, so I'm going to be describing a boy in a field, and the main thing that I'm trying to create is the fact that this boy is maybe on his own, and his thoughts and feelings are about how he feels on the inside. And I'm thinking that this is maybe a place, so this is a place maybe that he used to, I'm just kind of thinking about ideas, so this is maybe a place that he used to come with. He used to come with his dad. Okay, so actually already what I have is I'm thinking I'm going to do about a boy that's standing on a field, that he is maybe a bit sad, a bit reflective, a bit he feels a bit of loss, because as he's walking on this field, he can remember spending time with his dad on that field, but he no longer is there with his dad. So I'm that is the way that I'm going to be describing my story. Now, what I tend to always do is I tend to think about the way that I'm going to start my piece. So I always think about my almost 5 idea structure. Now, that could be 5 paragraphs, but sometimes I might not just put 5 paragraphs. So in my paragraph 1, I always like to focus on the weather and the setting. Now, the kind of weather and setting that I want to create in this one is this idea of maybe like a peaceful and pensive kind of atmosphere, because the boy is quite thoughtful. Now, the things that I might be thinking about as I look at this picture is I might describe the grass, and I might describe the grass as it is swaying, so that gives it a bit of movement and personification. Usually I tend to start with rainy kind of stories, but I might decide that this is actually kind of like a morning, and that there is a golden kind of haze, and that the dew, I might make it in the morning, so the dew is like the water droplets on the leaves shimmer or shimmers or shimmered like diamonds. So something along the lines of that. I might talk about, because in the morning you might get a bit of a breeze, so I might talk about a murmuring breeze, or I might talk about that breeze maybe kind of creating some Chinese, I don't know if we're allowed to say that anymore actually, whispers. So maybe talking about gossip, okay, spreading the gossip, spreading the news of a waking day. Okay, I'm gonna have to like check if that's politically correct actually. So I'm starting to gather some of the words that I might want to describe. I might also describe about the vastness of the land. So I'm just thinking about things that I might want to write about the weather. So I've got the grass, I've got the golden haze, I've got the dew that shimmers, I've got a murmuring breeze. Oh, I might talk about a few, like a few uh, fluffy clouds, like maybe dotted in the sky, making strange shapes. I might say something like playing charades or playing a game with the world, like as it trying to figure the figures. So I'm just kind of creating ideas already, and then I'm going to introduce my boy. So my boy, he's gonna be like somebody that looks a bit scruffy, that clearly is used to being out in the countryside. So I might talk about him like, so this is my boy. Now when I describe my boy, I'm gonna introduce him in terms of his appearance. So I always like describing actually the kind of stuff that they wear. So I might describe that he's wearing like some upturned khaki. Now khaki is like a green trousers, and now those trousers are speckled with dried up mud, and that just shows that maybe the boy is quite active. I'm going to describe him as actually being quite barefooted. I usually put shoes on my characters, but I'm going to put him all together barefoot, and that suggests again that wildness about the boy. I might talk about him wearing a t-shirt. Now in that t-shirt he might have, I don't know, like a character. Because I'm going to say about his dad, I might put that he's got like Captain America on there. Captain America. And like the print is faded and peeling. You know, like when you have one of those t-shirts that he's worn it loads. And then once I've described kind of what he's wearing, I like to always focus on like the hair and the face. So you like look at the overall and then you zoom in on the character. So I might talk about his hair, and his hair might be a bit tousled. Tussle means a bit messy. I might give him like maybe golden locks. So he's got like blonde hair. And then I don't know. I always go for golden locks. And then I might talk about his eyes, and I might describe his eyes as emerald, or maybe I might describe his eyes like a cobalt blue. Depends what, like, I don't know yet what I want to go for. But I'm gonna say that his eyes are like watchful, like he's watching. So I'm describing the way that my character looks. Okay, so I go through like maybe even his hands. Oh, because he likes to go outside, he might have like dirt under his, and it's made me check my own nails, under his fingernails. Okay, and maybe even kind of like he might have like scratches as well. So he might have scratches and half healed scabs, because he's always out and about. Okay, so I'm trying to create a bit of a character. So I've got this boy that is really like active and is in this field. Now the next bit, now what I might do though is, because I want to create this as a tiny bit of a motif, is this idea that of course he's thinking about his dad and being here with his dad. So maybe on his wrist he has a broken watch. And I've probably stolen that from a film actually. He has a broken watch that no longer works, but that it looks quite important because this broken watch, like, it's got a leather strap, and it has stopped. Maybe like we can give it a time. It has stopped at 1 o'clock. Like the hands of the clock are frozen in time. Something like that. Now this clock is going to become important in my story, okay? Because it doesn't tick, it doesn't move. I might even add something about it on paragraph 1. Now my paragraph 3, this is now going to go into the boy's mind. So this is his thoughts. Now when he's thinking about his thoughts, I might think about how he feels like under the vast sky. Now there's this beautiful line from a poem by Sylvia Plath where she talks about the skies lean on me. The sky leans on him. Now that is to show like Sylvia Plath was quite sad and quite depressed actually, and like the fact that the whole sky leans on her, it feels like the weight of the world. So something along maybe like the sky leaning on him because he wonders, or he's sad because he misses his voice. So I'm just gonna keep it like vague, his voice. Now I might decide that that voice in his thoughts is the wisdom of his father, the warmth. So I'm thinking of things with W. His voice had wisdom, warmth, and wonder. So like things that his father kind of built in him. And then because he's feeling all of this, he could hear the echo of his words drifting on the breeze. So something like that. I'm trying to create that imagery, and like ultimately how he feels alone. And then what I will do again is he's going to look at the watch. So I'm going to go back to this watch. This watch is going to become a bit of a motif in my story. So like again, looking at the hands and how they don't move. And then in my paragraph 4, I'm going to use a bit of a flashback. Now in this flashback, it's going to be about him running through the fields. Maybe I'm going to put something like chasing a kite. Because, you know, we like chasing a kite. But I might actually describe, again, that Captain American t-shirt. And actually, how it smelled new. It was new, smelled brand new. And it was soft. And how you could see maybe the chiseled features. So I'm just coming up with ideas really. The chisel features of Captain America. And how the colours, like maybe here I might have said about the blues and the reds fading. Maybe here is like a vibrant American flag. And maybe something that we learn about the dad is that the dad is wearing a soldier's uniform. Okay, so this is now suggesting that maybe he's lost his dad in maybe a war or something like that. So then you've got this in the flashback. Now, so I might use things like the word echoing here because I'm trying to create a flashback. I'm creating that sense of something in the past. So you've got echoing, you might have voices fading, you might have the scent. So like there's something lingering in the air. You might have memories flickered. So that creates like that idea of photos flickered, like what could it flickered like a film reel. Something. I'm just kind of gathering ideas. And then in my paragraph 5, and again, what I might do here, because I really like this idea of this watch actually, what I might do here is he looks back at the watch, like, so this might be like a line on its own, and he feels, or he thinks, one of the hands moved on that watch. Okay, so I'm going to go back to this watch and one of the hands moved. And then I'm going to end it because remember, you only got 35 minutes to write a story. So I'm going to go back to the weather. Now my last bit is, so at the beginning you had like this swaying golden haze, the dew, the glimmers. What I might do now is, because that creates like a morning, I might talk about like the sun being high in the sky. And I might talk about, I said that there were a few fluffy clouds. I might say how now clouds had invaded the sky. And I might talk about like a distant songbird was waking everyone. And I might, to create the opposite, how the dew had now evaporated. And so I'm ending almost in a full kind of circle. Now this is a plan, it's just an idea. If you want to write something completely different, of course you can. But it's about, I wanted you to see the way that I go through, like the weather, I create a physical appearance for my character, I create his thoughts, I'm thinking about the flashback, and then I'm thinking about bringing it back. And I'm starting to think about things, motifs or ideas that I might repeat or have in my piece. I hope you find this helpful. If you're struggling, I hope this gives you some ideas. And remember the success criteria. Try to use a metaphor, try to use some personification, try to use anaphora, try to use a minor sentence, or use a one sentence, paragraph. Okay, I hope you found it helpful. Year 10, good luck.